He's hit by Giles. Savard to Larmer. He shoots. He's robbed by Beaupre. Then hits the side of the net. In front to Secord, a shot. And Priest, a valiant sliding effort to stop Secord, who wants at Mandich. Dan Mandich and Al Secord. Then Larmer dumped from behind. Priest and Larmer are doing some shoving. Now Secord slams Priest on his heels. Now Larmer and Priest are going to go at it in front of the Minnesota net.
Oh, Priest should get some additional penalty time for jumping Larmer. Larmer with a great chance to pull ahead. Boy, these teams really don't like each other, and it's proving to be a fantastic rivalry.
I don't think at any time can anyone ever say they've seen better hockey than this. Fox and Young trying to Fred Astaire a little bit, and Fox showing his muscle. Now Brian Lewis comes over, and certainly he has his hands full. Across the rink from this scene, Al Secord and Willie Plett are eye-to-eye grabbing jerseys.
All alone, no one there to protect them.
There they are.
Both tired customers. I'm sure they have tremendous respect for each other.
Now the linesmen spot them and say, there's a big forest fire about to break out, and we better get over there. Well, this crowd will never compete with the crowds at Chicago Stadium, but they're definitely trying to make a show of it tonight. Listen to this crowd.
Now Savard having words with Plett. Interesting to see how Lewis calls this. Free should get an additional penalty for jumping Larmer. Now Savard, we can't see it, is over there battling with the whole
There we
bench.
go, Cicerelli and Savard right in front of the Minnesota bench. And they're really going at it. Now Fraser coming in to help Savard. And it all breaks loose here at the Met Center. Both teams, a wild brawl.
Well, both the Chicago players jumped the bench. Cicerelli off the bench to get at
Priest out of the penalty box. Priest along with the other Minnesota player in the penalty box. Well, you can see it as well as anyone. Savard went right over to the Minnesota bench and picked out number 20, Dino Cicerelli. It has been quite a night here at the Met Center. And don't forget, these teams go at it again in the regular season. Now Savard trying to pull loose. Cicerelli taunting him from center ice. Savard being pinned by the linesman in front of the Chicago bench. There's Cicerelli. He was taunting Savard, who was being held back by Kevin Collins. Well, it's going to be a while before this matter cools down.
Well, we've seen very little of this in the National Hockey League. They've cut down on this tremendously with the new rules. And this is the first time the Blackhawks have been involved in a situation like this with both teams.
I want to say one thing. Our cameraman with a handheld camera between the two benches.
Should get the Purple Heart.
Boy, at least a cold one after the game. He's done a valiant effort. He's got the ringside. And Brian Lewis really has lost total control. He is sitting now with a pencil and a little notepad. Brian Lewis. Higgins is the Blackhawk player. Cicerelli trying to get to him. Young Brian Bellows, who probably can't have a cold one after the game because of age, holding off Tim Higgins. And Dino Cicerelli is kind of dancing all around the rink. This is in the bench.
This is Young and Fox going at it in the bench.
Fox
Boy, if this keeps up, I'm going to have to suit up to finish the hockey game.
Fox has been holding on all along, and Fox just trying to get Young, I think, Dale, down underneath the bench where he can really take care of things. Well, this is not the kind of thing you ever want to encourage, but it is the result of some supreme efforts by all concerned, and I'm sure one of the finest hockey games that has been seen in the NHL this season. Now, it's Ludzik out at center ice with Bobby Smith. This becomes the main event. Now Fox goes over. He and Priest are going to go at it. Well, Dale Talon, you and I have seen a lot of hockey over the years, and that means not in a positive way necessarily, a lot of fights and a lot of brawls, and this may be one of the granddaddies of all that I have witnessed.
Fox really giving it to Freese now in front of the bench, the penalty bench.
To the credit of the fans here, they have stayed out of the situation, which I think we should point out. It is quite a credit, because when these sorts of things have happened in recent years, and even going back a number of years in the NHL, there have been instances where the fans have gotten involved. Two interested bystanders.
Goaltenders have a strong union. No fighting allowed in the goaltenders union. You see Milosh and Bannerman both chewing their gum rather nervously.
Well, everybody now is paired up. You see it all. It looks like the Tommy Dorsey band in a ballroom dance in an old hotel in the Loop area.
Now, Platt and Secord jostling in front of the penalty box.
There they are. Look at, you can see the little mouse over the eye of Secord. That's from the initial fight between Platt and Secord at the minute 18 mark of this third period.
We have to bring in the National Guard.
Whoops! Now Hartsburg and Savard, Cicerelli and Savard are back together. Savard is loose. One of the linesmen has Cicerelli. And this has been going on for some 10 minutes. Now some fans beginning to throw some debris out. And it's just about to the point, Dale, and you say it tongue-in-cheek, we'll have to call out the National Guard. But it's just about to the point where someone other than the two linesmen and Brian Lewis is going to have to step in.
Savard really has a dislike for Cicerelli. I don't think he'll be on his Christmas card list next year. Now this looks like that movie they shoot horses, don't they? The old dance marathon.
There's Dino Cicerelli. He is a little pepper pot. 5'10", 180 pounds. They're the two big men who really probably are the center of attraction. Now they're drawing everyone like magnets. And you're right, Dale. You make the point of how hard it is to hug and shove and pull on skates. And then if you try to talk and do everything else, and this has been a game where these players, with 5:50 to go in the third period, have to be totally exhausted. Now another event behind the Chicago net. And Brian Lewis trying to break up Ludzik, who was, I guess, 5-6 minutes ago in a fierce battle, was with Bobby Smith, and that's the two of them yet. Well, you have any old grudges against any of these North Stars that you remember from your playing days? I'll be glad to let you go down there.
That's why I'm glad I'm up here. Getting too old for this stuff.
Kevin Collins, one of the linesmen, is at center ice with Dino Cicerelli. They are 5 feet apart, eyeing each other.
Now Secord is going at it again with Platt.
Well, there are sticks and gloves in the center ice area and in the Minnesota zone. The fight has covered the entire rink. The crowd has been standing for 10 minutes. And all you can say is this is one of those great Donnybrooks that you hear about once in a while in the National Hockey League. And for my money, it'll go down as a classic. And for John Ziegler's money, it'll go down as a nightmare. That is Secord and Platt grappling.
I don't know if it's
now it's Mandich.
They've had a duel all season. It started in training camp where Mandich and Secord went at it on numerous occasions. Now they've gone at it again.
There's Cicerelli now with the other linesman as they're pairing off. Wayne Bonney, Kevin Collins and Wayne Bonney getting together saying, you go, I'll go, you go, I'll go, because they're exhausted themselves.
Well, I know one thing. These players won't be needing any Somonex to get to sleep tonight. Well, it should be quite a matchup. on the 30th at the Chicago Stadium.
Where are we sitting that night? Anywhere near the benches?
I might watch it in a bar in case somebody calls me back into the lineup.
Well, things seemingly have been straightened out. Now, of course, a huge task of paperwork, some secretarial duties, if you will, for veteran referee Brian Lewis. Broughton over to talk to Lewis, and he just says, hey, go away. I got a lot of things to do. As we mentioned earlier, Lewis was taking notes. And, well, he should. But I guess, Dale, he could just point to anyone about that he wanted to, just so he has 5 left in front of the goalies to finish out the last 5:50. Let us forget not that this is a 3-3 hockey game that has a lot more meaning than this bench-clearing, long-term brawl.
Well, we know Cicerelli and Savard will be banished from the game. We know that Secord and Platt will probably be thrown out. Mandich as well. Friest will definitely get a suspension for leaving the penalty box to come in and help out. Then all the Blackhawks jump the bench. Fraser leading the way. They'll all get fined for that.
Now, this will definitely, as you see Don Beaupre, have an effect on the last 6 games of the season, as the National Hockey League will come down with, I'm sure, severe penalties against both teams, because you know darn well they're going to look and say they're going to play March 30th. They may very well play in the playoffs. We're going to put a stop to this, or at least make a staunch effort right now. So for Minnesota especially, trying to catch the Blackhawks and win their 2nd consecutive Norris Division Championship, some player deletions over the last half-dozen games could be extremely costly.
Couldn't have said it better myself. As you see a couple of Blackhawk fans, I'll do it out in their red and black.
Well, you know, I'm going to say it again, and I don't mean to be patronizing. You hate to see fights. You hate to see things get out of control. But the feel of this arena and the feel that you get inside of the intensity of this hockey game, and the understanding, if you've ever played hockey on any level, of what can go on with emotions. It is a great feeling to be a part of all of this energy.
Well, you have to stand up for your rights. Savard, one of the leaders, one of the best players on the Hawk team, a smaller player in his team also, has to be protected by his teammates, and they did just that.